Rodgers and Tom Brady after the games this weekend, talking about where they are in the grand scheme of their football careers. What was your reaction to what Aaron Rodgers said?
Tom Brady had to
Also, Tom Brady.
Well, the difference is Tom Brady won. But the message is, to me, I understand he's getting a little bit introspective on it and where his numbers are versus where they've been. But the key stat there is they have a 95% chance of winning if you don't turn the ball over. And most games in the NFL are lost. They're not won. Big games are lost because of somebody's mistake. And one of the things that Tom's always done well, the organization has done well, is not have unforced errors. And when you put yourself in that situation and just wait for the other team to make a mistake, and New England does a great job of then capitalizing on other people's mistakes, you're going to win a ton of games. Now, could he take more chances? Maybe, but how much better than 95% chance of winning do you want to get? And is it worth it to get, you know, some marginal gains?
Coach, I remember like in the late 90s, and Brian Billick, I got to give Brian credit. And I'm not going to say analytics, but he was one of the smarter coaches I was ever involved with. And as the game started to evolve, he started to reveal numbers and stuff to us, a lot like Tom Brady. And I had never been exposed to that type of information on a regular basis as far as winning and losing games. What do you have to do, and what happens more often when you win, and what happens more often when you lose? And it's totally outside of sacks, you know, and yards, and how many times you rush the ball, but it's about turning the football over. There is nothing more as far as telling a game in the NFL than who won the turnover margin.
Yep.
And for Tom Brady, even at this age, to concentrate on that and to know that, to me, it's one of the brilliant things about him, that he can still understand, I don't need to take more chances. I need to take advantage of now this game of throwing the ball and the talent and the skills that I have around me. So I understand that. When you're presented with this information, what is the most calculated risk? What's the best way of going about doing my job? I had to change when Brian was able to expose this information. We had to change as an organization when he began exposing this information to us. And you have to play the numbers.
Yeah.
It's a numbers game. Even though it's a sport, it's a numbers game. So I have a lot of respect for Tom and how tuned in he is to, man, this is what it takes to win. And there's nothing more important than winning.
And you're 100% right that year after year, if you just look at the standings next to the year-in plus-minus turnover margin, they're nearly identical. They, like in yards, defense leaders, none of those match up like that does. But this is one of the great benefits, though, of being Tom Brady. So we did look up the numbers. When Brady doesn't have a turnover, they win 89% of their games. So he said when we as a team. But when just Brady doesn't have a turnover, they are 111-14. So he knows the biggest, if I play a clean game, 9 out of 10 times we win.
And no one is touching the ball more than him. He's touching the ball 65 times a game.
And we know,
so he should have that to be the most important thing because he's touching it the most.
But when I say, and everyone at this table believes Tom Brady is the GOAT of NFL quarterbers. But Coach maybe hasn't seen enough yet, but I imagine you would call Brady the GOAT.
Getting closer. I mean, it's either him or Mahomes.
Okay. But this is one of the benefits Brady has that the other great quarterbacks don't have the same degree. The Pats win 89% of the time when Brady doesn't turn the ball over. The Packers win 75% of the time when Rodgers doesn't turn the ball over. They're 5-6. He's 20 touchdowns, 1 interception on the year. There aren't really hardly any buts about Tom Brady. But when people do the Brady versus Belichick system or quarterback, that discussion, this would be a point in the Patriots' favor rather than Brady's, which is because they are so buttoned up, because they're so well coached, because they don't lose games, as if his margin of error is greater and what he needs to do on a week-in, week-out basis is lesser. Now, he has shown in the biggest moments he raises his game higher than anybody's.
Well, but I would argue that because I know guys in that system. Tom Brady conducts meetings himself. Tom Brady has emphasized what Bill Belichick is trying to do. So I have seen Tom. Tom is just not sitting back saying, what do I do today, Bill?
Sure.
No, Tom is taking an aggressive approach. Tom teaches the offense, teaches the principles and the coaching points as well. This comes from guys that are in the room. So Tom's input in what they're doing on the offensive end is significantly greater than anything Aaron Rodgers, or I've heard about Aaron Rodgers coming out of Green Bay, Coach.
Okay, so this might not be the most popular question, but
Go ahead.
Tom Brady hasn't been as sharp as he's been in years past. Is there a correlation between him doing what we talked about, holding onto the ball more, trying not to turn the ball over, and the fact that he hasn't been that sharp? This hasn't been his best year?
Well, I think one of the things that makes you take more risks is trust, and trust in the people that are around you.
Yes.
And this group is a new group. You bring in Josh Gordon, there has to be a level of trust that's built up.
Nick, how many wide receivers have they worked out in New England since the spring?
Forget worked out. Signed and cut, I think it's 33.
Right, so there's 33. He's got a new left tackle. The old left tackle is the highest paid guy in the league at his position. The new left tackle makes $436,000.
We never talked about things like this in the past with Tom Brady.
Because that's what we take for granted. So with him saying maybe I could take more risks, when you're dealing with a rookie running back, a Gronkowski
in and out of lineup, who missed most of training camp, Sony Michel.
The guys that he has a lot of trust with haven't been there on a consistent basis. So for him, I'm sure it's a function of, I know if I play clean, we've got a great chance of winning. And then if I'm going to take chances, I want to take chances when those guys prove to me that that chance is worth taking.
And the other thing that we saw this year was the first 7 games of the year, Tom Brady couldn't play a clean game. First 7 games of the year, he had a turnover in every single game. Now, they went 5-2 despite that. And then since then, he has been more conservative, and he hasn't been putting up gaudy numbers. I think it's a combination of what Coach said, and it is of course Tom Brady is a lesser player today than he was 3 years ago or 5 years ago. He can be fending off Father Time better than anyone in the history of the sport, but that doesn't mean Father Time's not making any gains whatsoever. So the combination of having change in his left tackle for just the second time or third time in his entire career, the turnover at wide receiver, and that he's 41, all of those things lead to the stats you mentioned, 14th in this, 15th in that.
Yeah, I saw Tom Brady in the fourth quarter at the Super Bowl, and now that was just in February. So to me, the greatest thing that's changed is overall the personnel around him. The reason why it's trust, Tom Brady don't have the trust. These guys aren't great. Josh Gordon got traded by the Browns after not showing up. Gromskin out of the lineup. Edelman was suspended.
Right.
The running back, their most consistent offensive weapon, he's been in and out of the lineup. So that's part of Tom Brady's problem. I haven't seen the age. After what he did last year, and now he disproved people last year, right now to me it's about the personnel that they put around him and the lack of trust of that.
And with all those issues that we're talking about, we're just saying his numbers are a little bit down. If this was some other marquee quarterback, the sky would be falling. We'd need to get more free. I mean, whatever.
Get him some help.
Yeah, he's got to get help. He's got to get help. For him, it's like, oh, his numbers are a little down.
Okay. All right, Coach, stick around. Got to take a break.